In today's video, we're going to compare two very different guns that just happen to be chambered in the same cartridge. And we're going to compare two versions of that cartridge that just happen to be very different from one another. And what guns are we talking about? Well, we're talking about my wife's Ruger SP101, a little 5-shot revolver chambered in .357 Magnum. And we're talking about my Winchester 1892, also chambered in .357 Magnum. And in today's video, we're going to compare velocity and effect on gel as we mix and match the guns and the cartridges. But right now, I'm going to let my assistant give you a close look at what two cartridges we're talking about. Okay, we do have two loads that we're going to shoot today in the .357 Magnum, and these are hand loads. They're fairly warm. They're not maximum, but they are pretty warm. And they're topped off with a 158 grain XTP bullet from Hornady. And the Hornady manual gives an operating range for those bullets somewhere between 700 feet per second and 1500 feet per second. And so I think we're definitely going to be above the 700. We might actually be above the 1500 feet per second with the longer barrel Winchester 1892. We'll have to see. And we've got the Barnes Vortex XPB hollow point bullets. And I think this is the first time for Barnes bullets on the channel. Certainly the solid copper version, which these are. They are solid copper and hollow point bullets. And they have an advertised velocity of 1,265 feet per second in a handgun. And so we'll see how that velocity compares with the super short barrel of that Ruger SP101, because its barrel is only 2¼ inches long. And so we may struggle to get to that 1265 with the Barnes XPB hollow point bullets. Hi, George here, and welcome to Tales from Target Suite, where I'll share my perspective on guns and shooting, and we'll have an adventure or two that'll make even a grown man smile. And yes, we are going to mix and match guns and ammunition. And before we can do anything of value, I need to find out what the velocities are that we're talking about. So let's move right over there to the lab radar, get the Doppler turned on, and see what kind of velocity we can find. Okay, the first thing we're going to shoot is going to be the hand loads, and I've just got a few, so I'm going to shoot two real quick of the 357 mag Hornady X 158 grain XTP bullet. And I want to tell you, I've been on a journey trying to improve my double action shooting skills. And if you'll stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you a little bit of what I've learned and show you how bad I'm still doing, but we'll report on what progress I have made. So we'll do that there at the end of the video. But right now, let's get the lab radar turned on and send 2 rounds downrange. And I think you'll be able to see, I've got a B camera set up over there. I think you'll be able to see what the numbers are, but I'll call them out also. $10.55. $10.58. Okay, let's try 2 shots. Let's try 2 shots in the 1892. And that's going to leave me exactly 2 shots to put in the ballistic gel. Let's hope I don't waste any. 1730. Okay, sometimes technology can work against you. Okay, let's pause for just a minute, because I've had some of you guys have commented about the complexity of the lab radar and you just weren't impressed. And I get that, it's not for everyone. But it does provide a whole lot more information than a traditional break the light beams chronograph. And from my perspective, the most valuable information it gives is downrange velocity. And so we can actually, with a single shot, we can actually tell what velocities are out to sometimes as far as 125 yards, depending on the bullet caliber and the shape of the base of the bullet. So I love the lab radar. It just has to be set up correctly. And if you're eyeballing this fancy revolver right here, you can check out my Facebook or Instagram social media for a little bit more information about this. But it's a recent acquisition, a Ruger Vaquero 44 Magnum. So you can look forward to more of that content down the road. But now let's get back to the regularly scheduled program. And the lab radar, you have to determine ahead of time whether you're shooting, whether your velocities are going to be in the realm of pistol cartridges or rifle cartridges, and the cutoff is 1,500 feet per second. And so I did not know that we would be shooting in excess of 1,500 feet. So fortunately, I got one recorded at 1730, I believe it was 1730, but the second one didn't record. So we're just going to use that one velocity. So far we've got 1050s and 1730. $11.50. $11.64. Now this time I'm going to change to the rifle velocity range so we can record two. $18.84. $18.85. Wow. Okay. So let's get the let's go down and get the gel set up, and I'm going to shoot pretty much point blank with the Ruger SP101 because I need to get all the shots on that little gel. And this is not your friend when it comes to precision shooting, if you know what I mean. Okay, first one we're going to shoot is going to be the Hornady XTP out of the SP101. Wow. Okay, we'll review that here in a little bit. Now let me get the rifle. Okay, I've got the same bullet in the 1892. Okay, we've got the Barnes X 140 grain. Let's
So you go.
Okay, before I show you those slow motion shots, I just want to say that yesterday evening was a disaster because the guy running this slow motion camera here forgot to hit start a couple of times. And even this morning, we've had some bug interference where bugs have tripped the slow motion trigger, and you can you can see what that looks like right here. But I'm going to show you the slow motion, and then we're going to come back down here and we're going to take a look at the beginnings really of my journey with double action revolver work. So let me roll that slow-mo, that super slow-mo, and then we'll shoot with this little revolver. Well, when it comes to double action trigger work, something I heard a long time ago and I have never really practiced very much has to do with how you pull that trigger. And the most obvious way is you just, one smooth motion, you just pull that trigger, hoping that all of the wiggle that happens doesn't affect your point of impact. But what I had heard a long time ago is that you pull your trigger, double action trigger, in stages, and the better you get at these stages, the more it looks like a fluid motion, but there is actually 2 stages to that double action trigger pull. Now what I'm talking about is not going to work for everyone, so don't beat me up too bad in the comments. But what I'm talking about, and let me back up here, is that with a double action trigger pull, the tip of my finger here is eventually going to touch back here on the frame of the revolver, and I can use that touch as an indication of time to just pause and then finish pulling the trigger. And if you listen, if the camera will pick it up, you can actually hear the cylinder lock up right before I pull the trigger. There it is, locked up. I finish pulling the trigger. Locks up, I pull the trigger. Now the idea is to get to where that becomes a very fluid motion. And but it gives you a time to pause, and then the final disengagement of the sear, the final pulling of the trigger, is much more controllable. So let me see if I can hit that. Let me see if I can hit that IPSC target down there. But I'm going to have to realign a camera so that you can see the results of what I'm about to do. Okay, to demonstrate this, I'm going to give myself all the help I can get, and I'm going to use some wad cutters. And one of my viewers sent me these, and basically they are a very short, fairly lightweight, hollow base bullet, and they typically are very low velocity. They're intended for target shooting, and they do punch a clean hole in a target. And we're going to use them to demonstrate my 2-stage double action trigger pull. All right, let's see what I can do. It's so hard when you have ammo in your gun. Everything goes out the window. Your resistance to flinch, your two-stage trigger pull, everything. So it just requires a lot of practice, and so that's what I'm starting here as a journey to learn how to do this. But let's shoot some more rounds. Another reason I'm shooting wad cutters is because 357 Magnum loads in this little gun make it almost impossible to do anything other than point blank work. So let me shoot another group and see. And I'm gonna continue shooting at the center of that silhouette. We'll see if all the rounds keep going to the same place. Well, you saw a flinch there at the last, and I think it's evidenced by the shot before that went low and left, which is my typical flinch when I anticipate the recoil and actually push the gun forward. Let's try it again. Okay, Ruger SP101. Two and a quarter inch barrel on this model. Okay, I just need to do that about another 750 times a week for a year, and then I'm going to have this double action trigger pull down pat. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys and girls in the next video.